Good morning, West Coast. Good afternoon, East Coast. And hello, friends in between. Welcome, everyone, to our 34th in a series of Denticon webinars. This one being all about the power of the utilities menu. We have 145 registrants. Fantastic turnout. Welcome, everybody. Settle on in. My name is Kathleen Lee, Director of Customer Care here at Planet DDS. Today, that's right, we are live. It is Wednesday, June 26th, 2019. I hope it's a great day for you all. By the way, today's presentation, let's see if I can get my slide to move. And of course it won't. Well, anyway, today's presentation is supported and CE accredited by CE Zoom. Thank you, CE Zoom. And notice that at the end of this presentation, you will be sent an email. Open the email, read the email, and follow the instructions to the link in the email in order to redeem your CE Zoom CE credit, okay? So note also in that email will be a link to the recording of this webinar. So as we're going through this webinar, and it's pretty detailed, it's a big old deep dive. Don't worry about taking a whole bunch of notes. You're going to get a copy of the recording, and the recording will also be posted out on the internet. And you'll see the link in your email. So that email will take approximately 2 to 4 hours from today to render the recording and in order to get that recording to you. So please keep your eyes open for that webinar or that email link with webinar recording and also the information about how to get your CE credit. I really wish my thing would move to the next screen, but it doesn't. All right, anyway, today's presentation is being presented today by myself and by our kind, caring patient and dental practice management knowledgeable lady, Linda Clower. So welcome, Linda. Thank you for being here at my side to help present the power of the utilities menu.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to join you.
You're welcome, darling dear. Now, note that the webinar format is a 45-minute presentation of the topic with 15 minutes of Q&A, and I hope we can get to that. So we're going to go through this kind of quickly, a lot of content. Notice you're all on mute. So if the dog is barking and the drills are drilling, it's okay. We can't hear you. But in order to interact, yes, you can ask questions in the question section of the GoToWebinar menu. If you want to take a little peek and become a little familiar of where the question section is, go ahead and take a look at your menu. You'll see there'll be an icon there. So please feel free to enter your questions, and we will address your questions at the conclusion of the presentation. But you can enter your questions throughout the presentation, and who knows, we just might answer that question as we're going through our presentation. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. Okay, so today we'll be presenting some utility options that allows for maintenance of patients, fee schedules, appointments, treatment plans, carriers, insurance plans. It's a great way for you to manage maybe what you've inherited in your dental practice management software in terms of duplicates or people leaving, and what do we do with the appointments and treatment plans and duplicate plans and duplicate carriers. So it's a really great utility menu. We've never presented it before, so I'm really excited to present it to you now. Now, before we get started, let me, if you wouldn't mind, lean on you. I want to take a couple of polls, 2 quick polls, and I'd like you all to participate so we know who's here and how we can better serve you during this presentation. Okay, so the first poll I want to launch is, what is the size of your dental organization? So I'm launching the poll. What is the size of your dental, organization? Oh my gosh. And so there you go. And I closed the poll. Oops, by mistake. So sorry, a little laggy over here. So let's go to the second one. What is your role in the dental office organization. Let me see if I can launch that slowly but surely. There it is. What is your role in the dental office organization? Thank you, everybody, for participating. I'm going to give you a couple of more seconds to answer. It helps us to get to know you folks a little bit better and know, as we're doing this presentation, how to focus what we show you and the angle that we talk to you about it. All righty, I'm going to close this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. 80% of you voted. Great job. And let me share what we've learned. So, looks like we're almost at dead heat, so I'm going to read from the bottom. 29% are corporate. Great to be here for that. Excellent. Office administrators, also 29%. Makes sense. Fantastic. Welcome as well. 26% insurance billers and 12% clinical dentist hygienist assistant. Good for you. Glad you're all here. Thanks again for participating. Sorry, missed the first poll. Seems like I'm a little laggy here in Southern California with my internet, but no worries. Thanks again. All right. So now, without further ado, Linda, let me give you keyboard and mouse, or let me actually make you a presenter, show your screen. And although I wasn't able to show the agenda, which I would have loved to, you're going to see it live. So without further ado, Linda, lovely lady, you are officially the presenter. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to start today at the top of the screen by going to Utilities, and then we'll start right here, Close Out Managed Care Claims.
Exactly. So close out managed care claims. What on earth does that do? And I've had people ask me, and when I show them, they're like, oh, amazing. So if any practices participate with managed care, HMO, you know that there will be some procedures, preventive diagnostics, that usually have a $0 for the fee. And we do have options in Denticon about how to work encounters and or claims. And Linda, before you do that, indulge me a second. If you wouldn't mind, let's bring up a patient, because I want people to be able to see a managed care patient, so to speak, and understand that when you're generating a claim for a patient, and yep, that was great, View Insurance Plan is awesome sauce, that when you're generating claims for patients, we can call those encounters, which are simply visits, right? Or we can actually generate a claim for every visit regardless of the dollar amount. So you'll notice here that we have 3 options in the area called when to print or when to generate a claim. Always generate a claim, no matter what service is rendered, or no matter what the dollar amount is, generate a claim. That's the option there. A second option is only generate a claim when there's a supplemental charge, and you notice it says managed care plan. So any of you folks participate, this is what we recommend. Option number 2, to only generate a claim when there is a supplemental charge for the procedure. What's supplemental? It means really any fee, estimated insurance greater than 0. Okay, or never submit a claim. So if your option for your managed care plan is submit a claim, that means that when you're generating or when you're treating patients and it's a $0 visit, exam, cleaning, x-ray, 000, you're going to generate a claim for that visit. And you might say, well, Kath, how do we do in an encounter if we didn't generate a claim for that visit? We could talk about that later, but we're going to go with that that's what you did. And so therefore, when you're running, and yes, thank you, Linda, if you wouldn't mind, when you're running your open claims report, you might start cursing like a sailor and say, raga, shmaga, raga, raga. How come I have all of these $0 claims in my report. Now, you notice Linda did change the amount over or equal to 0. So we got around that too by saying, hey, as long as the claim is $1 or more and we haven't been paid, show it to me. But notice if you say, if the claim is $0, here these claims are. And if you are detail oriented and high stress in terms of wanting to control, you might say, Kev, I don't want to see these claims. We're not going to get paid on these claims. I don't want to track these claims. They're kind of, creating a bottleneck in my reports. And so the utility that Linda's going to show you is going to close these claims and remove these from the report. Okay, so that's what the closed out managed care claims does. So go ahead, Linda, elaborate a little bit more on this utility for us.
Sure thing. Thank you so much. So I've gone to utilities and then close out managed care claims. You may have someone that's responsible for doing this for all offices. Maybe all offices don't accept HMOs, so you only need to be specific with your office. Regardless, this is where the action happens. So you choose which option you want here. You may want to end date on the day that you are in here. Maybe you want to take it back to the 15th, whatever your option is, whatever works best for you here. Then you check the box, close print, all managed care claims with 0 estimated insurance amount. I recommend that you run this report so that you can just keep that for your records, review that, and then once you're ready, you close those claims. And then you get the message, managed care claims have been closed from the selected offices. And let's do it in the right office. So then when we go back here to insurance reports and we pull up our report again, we'll get to see that it's all been taken care of, and now we only have that one claim hanging out there that has a estimation from the insurance. Awesome.
Exactly. And so this is not a presentation about managed care. We most certainly will do one, but I'll just leave you with capitation utilization. Take a look at this menu. And in general, capitation utilization reports are a way for you to track visits and encounters without having to generate claims. So a wonderful thing. All righty, Linda, nice. So let's take a look at our next tool in our utilities bag menu here and see what else we have.
Absolutely. Next, we're going to scroll down to insurance/procedures. We're going to take a look at duplicate insurance plans.
Okay, wow. So think about that. So perhaps you've inherited, you're new to the practice and you've inherited your position and the data that's in your practice management software, or perhaps you've been with the practice for years and you've come across some plans that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the same plan. I've got the same group number. These are duplicate plans. Why do I have duplicate plans? And so perhaps you have a group number 00-123, and maybe you've seen it again as 123, and maybe you've seen it as 0-123, and every permutation, but you, the beautiful human being brain that you have, know that actually these are really all the same plan. So we're going to show you with this utility menu how you can actually identify your duplicate plans and then choose one plan to now take the place of the duplicates so you can get rid of all of the duplicate plans. So you're going to feel the cha-cha-cha. We're always going to show you a report of what it is that you're targeting and then how to run the utility. So Linda, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give us some of the information about how to maybe start figuring out duplicate plans. No, I couldn't have duplicate plans, or I know I do, meaning is there a way that I can find all of my duplicate plans? Show us the report, please.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So you'll start by going to Reports, List, Employers, Carriers, Plans List. and then you will run the insurance plan list. Now you can choose by employer or carrier or all. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it on all. Run that report again. This is a great report for you just to run occasionally, just to review and make sure that you're not having folks enter plans that aren't necessary in the system. Like this one here. We're going to go ahead and use this as an example. Same group number, same employer, same carrier. There are a little bit of differences here in as far as the deductible, family deductible. So what you then need to do, you've got to do your due diligence, and you need to review those plans just to be sure that they are indeed individual or duplicate plans. So what I've done here, I've just put in the plan ID. I've gone to set up insurance plans, entered the plan ID, and brought up the insurance plan right here on the right. So you have all of the pertinent information right here. You can click through and discover if there's anything different, and then do the same for the next plan. And I notice here there is a difference. There is a different, same carrier name, but different carrier address. So maybe that's very valuable information. And then you have the deductible information is different as well. So I've determined previously that these are actually duplicate plans. One was entered with the wrong carrier. One was entered with the correct carrier. So now I'm going to go ahead and consolidate. And what we're doing here, we're entering the old plan information. And when we say old, we mean the bad or wrong plan. And then enter the new plan. And that means the good plan, the correct plan. It doesn't have to mean a new plan that you've just entered. And again, you go ahead and show the details. Now, this is always important to do your homework. You're looking at your current plan and your replacement plan. So I'm having plan ID 150 replace plan ID 165. So once you're happy with this information, you can consolidate. Denticon's going to ask you again, are you sure you want to consolidate? And then once it does, it's a done deal. So then what you can do, you can go back and pull up old plan, and once you have that, you can then either delete the plan if you don't have security rights to delete it, or if for some other reason you do not want to delete it, then you can just go in here and put in a effective date or a term date on here, just so you know this is not the plan to use. And it's right there. And if someone in error adds this to a patient, it's not going to calculate correctly in their treatment plan because of the term date.
Exactly. So this is a great utility for people that really want to have a good handle on the plans that are in the system, making sure that there are no duplicates, because as Linda had shown, a duplicate plan may be entered, in a slipshotty way, so to speak, and you might question and say, why does this patient have their coverage at 80%, but this patient with exactly the same plan shows the coverage at 50%? It doesn't make sense. They're the same plan, and the answer is actually they're not the same plan. It's a completely different plan with a completely different ID number that was added again. So this utility will really help you to create efficiencies and standardizations in verifying the actual coverage and benefits for your patient's insurance with the same group number. All righty, now kind of the same but different is another utility. Linda, tell us which one that is right underneath there. Yep.
Sure thing.
Good old
So,
duplicate carriers, yes.
Yep, pretty much the same concept as the consolidating the duplicate insurance plans. This time it's with the carrier. So you'll go back to your reports, list, employers, carriers, plans list, and then you can run the report for your carriers. Once you've looked at your report and you've determined you do have some duplicates and you want to consolidate those plans, you can then, just the same way we did before with the insurance plan, you can go back over here to your dental carriers. You can search those carriers and review that information and determine which one of these is the correct one.
And hey, Linda, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know, put maybe your microphone a little bit closer to your ear, but friends and family are saying, tell Linda she sounds far away. And
Sorry
I probably
about that,
way too close, so.
Sorry about that, folks. Thank you. So as we see here, when we review both of these carriers, this carrier, carrier ID number 1228, this is the carrier that has the fee schedule assigned. So it makes sense that you would want to consolidate and use this carrier as the good carrier, because if you're a network, you've created the carrier, you've added plans with this carrier. This is the carrier that's going to give you the accurate information in the fee schedule, because this one has the fee schedule attached and the other one didn't. That's also another great way to be clued in that you're using the wrong carrier in a fee schedule. So just like before, you enter your old carrier ID or the bad or wrong carrier ID, and then you enter the new carrier ID. You have another opportunity to review the information right here before you do it. Once you're happy with this, then you again go back, you consolidate the carriers, and the same process as before. If you want to go ahead and go back to the the duplicate carrier, you can delete that here, or you can edit in some way to let folks know to do not use, just so you can keep that for your records, whatever works best for your office. So you can edit it, you can delete it, but regardless, it's consolidated now.
Yay. Awesome. So again, that high stress, want to control personality traits in us all should really appreciate the ability for this utility to consolidate your carriers, consolidate your duplicate insurance plans with the overall goal of better estimations and more accurate fees. So it's a very classic question. Hey, how come my fees are different? How come my fee isn't what it should be? Usually this is one of the reasons why, oh, actually this plan has the carrier, but it doesn't have the fee schedule, and the other plan looks the same, but that carrier does have the fee schedule. So we have plenty of videos and health portal articles to show you how to search first before you add, and that would be the way to stop having having duplicate insurance plans and insurance carriers. Before we move on, Linda, show one more report if you wouldn't mind, which will kind of sum up both of these utilities. Back to the good old reports, lists, the good old employers, carriers, plans, lists, and the ones that is patients by insurance plan. I don't have to run it, but I want to show them that as well, and patients by carrier. So this shows you who is attached to plans that might have been duplicate and who is attached to carriers that might have been duplicate as well. So if you really want to know not only what are the duplicate plans and carriers, but who's attached to them, you can run that report and after and be aware of that as well. So yay, moving on to more cool, fun things in our utility toolbox here. What else do we have, Linda?
Next, we're going to talk about the new plan assignment.
All right, so now new plan assignment kind of sounds the same as consolidate a plan, and it actually isn't. It's used more when an employer says we're no longer going to be offering this plan. Instead, yay, we're going to be offering a different plan. And so this is a nice way for you to en masse change every patient that had Cigna group number 1, 2, 3 to the new MetLife group number 4, 5, 6. So it's not duplicate plans, it's not duplicate carriers, it's simply an entire different plan for a group of people. So once again, Linda, run some reports so we know what's happening, who it's happening to, and then tell us more about the utility and how to run it.
Sure thing. Thanks so much. So like you said, this is a great option, especially if you have a large employer like a school district or a major corporation in your town that changes insurance plans sometimes every year. This will save you a lot of stress if you are able to identify those patients by that employer, and then you can run the insurance plan list by employer to determine what plans you have in your system. So for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and use this report and show you that I have 2 insurance plans in my system for Walgreens. One I've just recently added because in my world we heard that Walgreens is changing from the Aetna PPO to the Cigna PPO plan. So now I've determined that I've got the old and the new plan in Denticon already. I've got the new plan information. So now I get to run my patients by employer list, just if you want to see how many patients that you have that are going to be impacted. This is a great idea to run because depending on how different the plans are, maybe you have patients that are scheduled to come in this week and they don't know their plan has changed, and it could impact their copayment significantly. So this is a good idea to go ahead and run this report, get this information so you can let your patients know before they are in the chair for treatment that by the way, your copayment's $100 more, unfortunately, or maybe $100 less than we thought before because you've got a new plan. So once you've got that new plan information in your system, you can go ahead and determine the old plan and put that information in here. And then the new plan, you're going to see the details of that. And now you get to, just like with all of the other changes, you get to assign the new plan, and Denticon asks you once again, are you sure you want to do this? And if you're happy about everything, you just go ahead and you do it, and the plans have been successfully updated.
Woo! So, yep, so wonderful. And so then, Linda, show us again, and this is pertinent to the term date and the start date for the plans, where you can make sure people don't use a new plan sooner than they should. And if you didn't run this utility, but you want to indicate when a plan has term, that you make sure you don't use a plan that's no longer active. Yay.
Exactly. So now if you've done this, you've determined that the effective date for this plan is the 1st of July, you can put that information in here, and then you have the same option, or pardon me, I think I just did that backwards. You have the same option to do that for the old and the new plans. You can put the effective date, the term date, and just like previously with the plans, if you have that term date in there, it's going to affect the patient's treatment plan copays. So you'll want to go ahead and make sure you update that, just in case someone decides to attach the wrong plan by mistake. It's right there. You have that term date in there, and when you enter treatment in the treatment plan, this term date is definitely going to affect that.
So wonderful efficiencies and heads up and making sure we do the right thing at the right time. So a great utility and a couple of great little features there embedded in what you see every day, but probably didn't really digest when you click view insurance plan. So wonderful. Thank you. And moving on to the next cool utility in our utility tool belt here that we can use. Tell me more about it, Linda.
Sure thing. This is the procedure code replacement. This can happen every year. If when you get your ADA code book and there are new codes that have been entered. I know this past year we had several new codes and codes that were replaced, like the occlusal guard was a code that was replaced. So this is a great option for you to use this one.
Exactly. So exactly. So what this is doing, it sounds redundant. We're just going to read what it says on the screen. But if you have a code that you're going to retire for whatever the reason is, the CDT code book is retiring a code, replacing it with another, or you yourself can create your own codes and you decide, you know what, I'd rather actually use this code instead, that utility is going to help you do exactly that. Find that code, replace it with another code, where in all of your treatment plans and future appointments. So this is not for procedures already completed. It's only for future appointments. Where would we have future procedures or future appointments? Of course, in the appointment book, any day greater than today, and in the treatment plan, anything that hasn't been completed. So once again, show us a report so we can identify what we're doing, who we're doing it to, and why we're doing it. Linda, thank you.
Absolutely. So reports, treatment plan reports. I've chosen treatment plan status by code because I have a specific code that I'm looking for, right? The one that I'm replacing. I just want to know, who has this code been assigned to in a treatment plan? How's it going to affect them? And here we go. We see these two patients have this impression code. This is obviously an in-office code. Just like all offices, you have your own codes for your own particular reasons, and that's what this code is as well. And I've decided that I'm going to replace that code. So we go up here, back to our utilities menu, procedure code replace. You enter the code. Remember, old code is the one that you're going to replace with the new code. You get to compare those codes. Once you look at that, once you're happy with it, then you can replace. Okay, so then you go back up to your reports, treatment plan reports, the status, and here we go. The old code is gone, the new code is there, and now you're using that new procedure code.
Success. Woo! All righty, moving on. We got some more wonderful features and utilities here to help you manage your patients, your treatment plans, your fee schedules. What's next here? A new menu option. What do we have, Linda?
Yep. Next, we're going to copy letters.
Cool. So, yeah, go for it. Tell us all about copy letters.
Sure thing. So maybe you have multiple locations, but one of those locations is your model office, meaning that's the location that you want all of your communication to come out of. You like to have a handle on the information that's being distributed to patients. You like to have the wording of your letters approved before they go out. Well, this is where you will use the copy letters function to your advantage. So in this case, you have a model office, and then you can copy letters to all offices from this one location. Keep in mind, however, all letters from other offices will be deleted and repopulated with these letters. So if the Dynamite office has a really great custom letter that they've done as a welcome letter to their new patients, if you copy those letters from your Dynamite office corporate location to all offices, this letter is no longer going to be here. So you may want to give everyone a heads up when you're doing this, that once you copy letters from your corporate location to all offices, that letter's not going to be in the Dynamite office custom letter setup any longer. So again, Denticon is fantastic about warning you. I like to remind people, don't just click through these warnings when they pop up. They're there for a purpose because we want you to understand what you're going to be doing. All letters from other offices will be deleted and repopulated with the selected office letters. Are you sure you want to continue? If you're happy about that, then it's done. So then if you go back over here and look, it's no longer there. That fantastic new patient welcome letter that they had in the Dynamite office is not there now because we've copied letters from other locations.
Exactly. So usually when we mentor the onboarding of additional offices, we would recommend choose a model office, use that model office to add any new letters that you thought of, you realize you didn't have, modifications to existing letters, and then use the copy utility. In the meantime, as you're adding offices, we won't show it, but as you're adding offices, there is also a copy letter option, and you can choose any office to copy a letter into your new office. So there is flexibility. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, but you have that opportunity when you add a new office. All righty, moving on to our next list here in our utilities menu. This is wow, this is like a multi-feature awesomeness tool in our tool belt. Linda, tell us, give it a name and tell us more about it, please.
Sure thing. This is the change future appointments, patients, or treatment plans by provider. This is going to be great for offices to use when you have either a provider that's leaving the practice or perhaps a provider that's for a short period of time, maybe on maternity leave, maybe a vacation, who knows? All sorts of reasons a provider can be away. But this is a great option for you to use. You get
so the goal here, Linda, as you're kind of saying, is if you find out Dr. Dobson is taking a leave of absence for 6 months, going on a cruise around half of the world, what do we do with all of the patients that he's treatment planned and the appointments that he has next week? Or he's retiring. Good for him. What are we going to do again with all the patients that are assigned to him? So this utility is going to allow you to do a combination or some of various things. Probably you may want to do all of them, and the little hyperlink will give you a report and tell you what it is you're doing to him, so, and to whom. So tell us a little more about that one, Linda, please.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you do get the option in Denticon when you see these hyperlinks. It's a great opportunity for you just to click on it right from there, so you don't have to close out or move away from this screen. You can review the patients that are on this provider's list of they have chosen this provider as their preferred provider. You can see the treatment plans and also the appointments scheduled with this provider. So you can determine when these appointments are and give those patients a heads up about the change that's going to be coming. Maybe when you're calling to confirm that appointment or just let them know.
Exactly. So efficiencies, now you can move all of those patients from Dr. Jones to Smith, all of his appointments from Dr. Jones to Dr. Smith, and all of his treatment plans from Dr. Jones to Dr. Smith. And you can do any combination of that. Thanks, Linda. Show us the nitty-gritties here.
Sure thing, glad to. So when you decide you want to make that change, you get some options here. You can move all patients to a different provider, all treatment plans to a different provider, or all future appointments to a different provider. And I think moving the all appointments to a different provider is one of the best time-saving options for you. Instead of having your front desk click on every single appointment and move that to another operatory, you get the option here to choose your provider that you're moving from, that you're moving to, and the operatory that you're moving to. You get to select those and map those operatories. And I would recommend, if you are replacing a provider rather than just moving a provider's appointments temporarily, to go in, review the new provider information, the new provider operatories, and just make sure that you have a place to move all these appointments to. So in this case, we're just going to move appointments by a date range, because remember, you can move all or you can move appointments by a date range, which is a great option for you to have. It gives you a lot of control. So when you're reviewing this, it's reminding you what you're doing. You're moving 3 appointments in the same office from one provider to another, one operatory to another. You've got your start date and end date, and it just reminds you that posted appointments will not be moved. And once you click apply, it's updated, it's done. So let's go ahead and I'll show you this before we make that change. So here I have Dr. Dobson in this operatory with these patients. So let's go ahead and apply. And those appointments have been moved.
Now note also that you can also move appointments between offices. So perhaps you're closing one location, you're moving to a beautiful new location. this utility can help you do that as well. So this utility has a lot of little pieces to it. It's really powerful, and for those who do this would appreciate what this utility can do. So thank you so much for that, Linda. Let's move on to our next. I'm going to try to get to some questions if we can. So let's see if we can move through these.
Changing the patient fee schedule.
Exactly, fee schedule. So this is an interesting one. So the goal here is to tell you how to do something, but also maybe how to avoid doing something. And so here's a classic one that becomes pretty popular, the end of and beginning of years. So this allows you to change a patient. So let's go first, Linda, if you wouldn't mind. Let's point to what that means, a patient fee schedule. We're not talking about insurance. So, yep, let's go to the patient overview screen. You'll notice there it shows what her fee schedule is. Let's edit for un momentito, por favor. Gracias. And then you'll see over here there's a pull-down menu of your fee schedules. And if you were to click Add New Patient, you'll see that we actually default to a fee schedule. So the goal is to change every patient whose fee schedule is whatever, in this case we could pretend office default, to a different fee schedule. And so what Linda's going to show you is where we actually define that. So here under Setup, under Offices, we ask, what fee schedule do you want to make the default fee schedule every time you add a patient? So you have to click and change. And the answer in this case, in this office, is Office Default. Okay, so our scenario is going to go over how it's 2020, you went to set up fee schedules, you added a new fee schedule, you called it 2020, you increased the fee for a couple of procedures here and there, or maybe increase everything by 25%. A couple of days go by, and you start to notice, wait a second, why are the fees on my cash patients, private patients, wait a minute, those fees are the old fees. They're not the new fees. And so what happened? And the answer to that is going to be, well, everybody's attached to Office Default. You just created a new fee schedule. You have to tell Denticon you want that to be the new fee schedule for all of your patients. And you say, but I did that. And still, there are patients that are using the old Office Default fee schedule. And I would say that is true because that Office Default setup doesn't change people to a new fee schedule. It just says from this point on, this is a new fee schedule that everybody will be defaulted to. So in general, if you will be increasing your fee schedules, let's say your patient fee schedules, let's say your UCR fee schedule, or your Office Default fee schedule, and you want to keep a history of the old fee schedule, in general, what we would recommend is set up fee schedules, add a new fee schedule, just like Linda did, and you probably would have done. But you copy your current default fee schedule, and you rename that new copy to 2018. So this way, everybody is always attached to whatever your Office Default is. You never change the name of that. It will always be named Office Default or Office UCR or Friends and Family. And when you copy the fee schedule and therefore rename it to 2017 or 2018 or 2019, how you maintain the integrity or the historical fee schedule from where it was, and then you can increase your current fee schedule. So this is not a training on how to do this. This is just a little bit of heads up of how you can avoid having to use the utility of change a fee schedule from XYZ to ABC. So I know I went through that kind of quickly, but let's look at the utility of how to change all patients from one fee schedule to another. Thanks, Linda.
Sure thing. So now we have the from, very, very much like before. You're changing from and to, and you can run a patient report, just like in other areas. You've been able to run that report to see who's on what, and then you can transfer that fee schedule from the Office Default or whatever you've named it to Office Default 2019, and then you can make that transfer. So you'll get that message that they were successfully moved from and to, and now all is well in the world.
Yay, exactly. So anyway, there's the utility. It will change everybody from whatever to who's he wants it. And if what you're changing is an office default fee schedule, we can, and we have previous webinars where we talked about the most efficient way of creating new fee schedules and having integrity of old fee schedules. All right, lots of words. Let's move on to the next utility, Linda, please.
Sure thing. Last but not least, change patient home office. And this
exactly.
Is
so people usually say home office. What's that all about? So home office usually, is just simply the place that when you add a patient and you're in an office, that becomes their home office. There's also some responsibilities to a home office, but you can treat a patient in any office. But if you want to change a patient's home office en masse, and again, this might kind of marry to we are now moving to a new location, and therefore we want all of our patients' home office from the old location to be the new location. This is a utility that will allow you to do that en masse and pretty quickly. Thanks, Linda, for telling us more about it.
Sure thing. So this is a utility that takes a little bit of time to run. So note that it's going to transfer overnight. It'll be run overnight by our dev team. So if you go ahead and choose your new home office here, change your future appointments, your incomplete treatment plans, and save, don't be surprised or panicked if you go back and check and it still says the same home office, because it's going to transfer overnight to the new office. Another important thing to keep in mind that the recall, regular contract, ortho contract, and responsible party information is also going to be changed to the new office. And you need to make sure that if you're changing all patients from one office to another, that you need to have space in your schedule to accommodate those appointments so you don't have confusion with overlapping there. So you just come here, choose your home office that you want to change everyone to, and save. And once you do that, you can check back tomorrow to see that it's been accomplished.
Exactly. And so there are responsibilities of a home office. We just showed you kind of quickly, right, that you define the default fee schedule for an office. So you may want to do this because you want that default fee schedule to be the default fee schedule for all of your patients based on the office that they're going to. So we're pretty much concluded with our presentation. Now we are available for any of your questions. Shelley, the beautiful and kind and loving and caring Shelley Kassler, thank you, Shelley, has been answering your questions in the question section as we were presenting. If you have any questions, please be so kind to put them in now. If you don't have any questions and you're going to leave, just remember that in 2 to 4 hours, you'll be receiving an email from Planet EDS. Open up that email. You'll have a recording that will also post the recording on the web, and it will more importantly have the instructions on how to redeem your CE credit. Okay, so do look out for that email. You'll see how to put the verification code for today's webinar with the instructions of how to redeem your CE credit. All righty, my lovely Shelley, how you doing? Thanks for being there, so I didn't get to introduce you. Any questions? Can't hear you, Shelley, so perhaps you're on mute. But let me take a peek and see if I can pop out our panel here. All righty. So what we have is when you change provider, future appointments. And this is from Brandy. Hey, Brandy. When you change provider future appointments from one op to another, what happens if there are patients already scheduled in the op you want to move to? Exactly. So what will happen is they won't move. So we can only move right where there is an open slot. So let's call it the source operatory and the target operatory. So if we have an appointment at 9 o'clock in operatory 1, and we say move it over to Harry Jones at 9 o'clock in operatory 5, if there's already appointment at 9 o'clock for that day in operatory 5, the appointment will stay there. So let's show, Linda. Good for you, Brandy. Love your questions. Love your beautiful brain. Let's show a report. Actually, I wanted to go to a report.
Ah, okay.
Always the reports. Always the reports. And let's go to reports, appointment reports, and let's go to appointment detail. And notice here, you can run the report for an operatory. So if the goal is to get rid of all appointments in operatory 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can run a report. You can do it by provider or just in general for a range of dates. So you'll be able to see what appointments did not move because there was already an appointment in that target operatory. So it can be tricky, absolutely, but reports will help. So hopefully that helped to answer your question, Brandy. Thanks for being here, and thanks for your great question. All righty, let's see what else we have from Jennifer Somsi. Thank you, Jennifer. How do we attach multiple fee schedules to a patient? For example, if we have a specialist and a general dentist, and they have different fees for an extraction, but they're seeing the specialist today and maybe a general dentist tomorrow. So good news, Jennifer. Next month, July, I forget what the last Wednesday of July date is, but the last Wednesday of July, the last Wednesday of August, and the last Wednesday of September, we're doing a 3-part series called All About Fee Schedules, Fee Schedule Assignments, Fee Schedule Hierarchy. And the first part will be, my fees aren't coming out right. I don't understand why. I got so many fee schedules attached to so many different places. I think I'm doing it wrong. So we're going to identify why your fees are coming out wrong and how to fix it. And we're going to use fee schedules, fee schedule assignments to do it correctly. Then August, we'll go into, all right, how do I do it correctly? Let me show you how to assign fee schedules to different carriers, patients, providers. And then September will be understanding the hierarchy. And they all interweave, so we'll be hitting all of them in general. But I'll give you a real quick, just bop. Let me show it to you real quickly. Are you ready, Linda?
Yep, go for it.
All righty, so thank you. So, the good old setup, the good old fee schedule, the good old fee schedule assignment. Let's go into bulk. So, multiple fee schedules. So, the first would be to answer your question. So, here you choose a fee schedule, and Linda, don't worry if you don't have a specialty fee schedule. You can choose whatever you want, or if you're already prepped for our future webinars, good for you. But choose your specialty fee schedule. Now, we want to assign that to whom? To the specialist. So, let's go to the provider section. Uncheck the not applicable for providers because actually it is applicable. We want to assign this fee schedule to a specific provider. So choose any name. We won't actually do it. I don't want to mess up your data. If it's for all offices, you'll notice the select all offices is not checked. So it wouldn't be applicable. All offices actually means that. But if you go, no, only for this office or only for that office, you most certainly can do that. If it's for, and if it's for a specific carrier, actually, this fee schedule that we're talking about, Kathleen, is only for Delta Dental PPO. The Premier is actually even higher than that, and my cash fee schedule is different. So select, if appropriate, the carrier or carriers that it would be appropriate to, and voila. you would click simply assign. So set a fee schedule assignments. The bulk one is the pièce de la résistance of assigning a fee schedule. So you do it one at a time, but to multiple entities. So this is how I can assign a fee schedule to a specialist in an office, all offices, a carrier, all the Delta carriers, only the PPO carriers, en masse. And then, of course, the GP fee schedule is probably already assigned. You already have the Delta Dental of California or the Delta Dental PPO fee schedule already assigned to all of your Delta Dentals. And so that's where hierarchy comes in, that the software is smart enough to know what overrides what when a particular provider does whatever it is that's in your fee schedule for whomever the patient may be based on the plan and or the carrier. Wow, that was a mouthful. Da-da-da-da. Hopefully that was helpful. All righty. Yay. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope we see you. Come July, August, and September. Bring your questions. We'd love to see you there. All righty. So my pleasure to help. So what else do we have next? Any other questions about the utilities menu? There's a lot going on there. Consolidating plans, consolidating carriers, moving fee schedules, moving appointments from one provider to a next. Are you brave enough to do it? If you are, run your reports first. Do it on a test patient, perhaps. I always like to do that so you are comfortable with what these utilities actually do. So how are we doing? All righty. I don't see any other questions, open questions, so I'll give a couple of more seconds, and otherwise we'll round it off. Again, don't forget to check your emails for the instructions of how to get your CE credit from CE Zoom. There'll be a verification code. Also, again, thank you everybody for coming and participating, because we need you and your questions for these webinars that we have the last Wednesday of every month. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We appreciate you being here and in our journey of learning all things about Denticon. So I don't see any other questions, so I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Linda, thank you so much for being my wing person and doing wonderful Vanna Whites and showing us all of these wonderful features. I really appreciate you, Linda Clower, and I appreciate all of you, our Denticon users. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Have a great day, everyone.
Yay.